the question we've been asked is, say I'm moving fresh to uLaw, and I've been already using another system, or maybe I've been doing things manually. Can I actually backdate and import an entire matter, maybe an active matter, into uLaw? This example is going to show that. So let's assume that there's a client by name Fred Ginger, and he gave us a retainer on November of last year, 2014, $1,200. You paid some court fee of $75 on 5th of November. You did some work on, charged him some legal fee of about $400 in February of 2015. That was the HST. That's the amount it dropped to in trust because you did an electronic fund transfer. Then later in May, you actually charged him both a disbursement that you paid out of general and a legal fee that you actually paid, that you transferred from trust. So let's assume that this was a single invoice, 1235, and these were the two charges, and you transferred them using a check 255. Let's do this in uLaw, backdate it carefully and do it, and then produce this exact same client trust ledger in uLaw as well. So let's do that. To do that, first I'm going to create the client. Do that, new contact, create the client. So in our case it is Fred Gingerbread. I'm not going to put all the details, but let's directly go and create a matter for him. I'm just going to follow the dates very, 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 very carefully. It's pretty important that you follow the dates because that's how things will get transferred in uLaw. So first, let me create the matter. So let's say it's a family matter. So we can say Fred versus Dana. And maybe it's a divorce matter. So we can say family divorce, and you will save the matter. Now when you save the matter, it'll automatically create you a matter file, and it'll put all the associated rates and everything. So in this case, let's assume that our rate was about 250. So then you can change this and say our rate is 250 and hit the save button. Now the first and foremost thing is you need to backdate the retainer. So let's do that. To backdate the retainer, you'll go on Disbursements tab. You will say New Retainer. Let's assume the date was last year. So you go back in time and say November the 1st of 2014. The amount given was $1,200, and the check number was, say, 567, and you will say apply. Now when you do that, you will see that the software will actually put a retainer into your matter and also put it into trust account as well. The next step is the court fee that you paid from trust for $75. That again, you would say new disbursement. It was paid from trust. Make sure you backdate it. So that was 5th of November. So you can go back and say 5th of November. The amount was $75. The check number that we wrote from trust is 244, and you can say court fee and hit the payments. Now watch all these contents that build up here and try to match them against what you already have. For example, 2014 November 1st, retainer $1,200, court fee paid from trust, right, $75 on November the 5th. As you see here, the retainer balance is already dropped to 1125.00. The next thing that we want to do is do this legal fee. To do that, you can go on the matter button. So the legal fee was $400. So let's say first legal fee. If you remember all the items, you can put that as well. Make it like a flat rate. And we said the legal fee was $400, right? And hit the save button. Now, we didn't put the date associated with that. We should. So it was done on February the 2nd, February the 1st. So we can change the date on that and say, hey, this was a legal fee on February the 1st. Now, what you need to do as well in uLaw is to do a transfer from trust. You need to raise an invoice on that date. So let's go ahead and do that. You can say document generation, invoice, complete, backdate this invoice to February the 1st, right? Mark it as paid and raise this invoice. Notice that the software is already doing some computation, and it'll show you how things are actually changing on the fly. Okay, and here it clearly tells you that the balance in trust will be projected $673, which is matching with what you have. So let's do an invoice. Download the invoice. The invoice clearly states, how it was. Obviously, uLaw generates its own invoice number, so don't worry about it. $400, and it shows you the first two transactions of retainer and the payout. That sums it up and tells you that the balance in trust is $673. The next stuff that you need to do is put the other two line items that you had as part of invoice 1235. So let's do that. The first one was a disbursement. So you can say new disbursement, but you paid this from general and you recovered it in this invoice. So let's do new disbursement. Maybe it was done on April. So let's just put that date when it was actually incurred, when you paid it from your general. You should look at your bank statement and put this one. Let's say it was paid on the 15th, and it was an application fee. The amount, as we stated here, is $100, and it had a 13% HST. Let's say it was paid to Ottawa Courthouse, and the check number, we don't know how it was actually paid. Let's say it was actually paid by your credit card. So let's say it was paid from the business credit card, and you can hit the save button. The next thing that you need to put is a legal fee, and then raise an invoice again, which is a bundled invoice of both disbursement and legal fee. So let's do that. So new event, let's say second legal fee. Now this time I know it's 1 hour because it's matching with 250, so I can even put that, or make it a flat rate like the previous example, and hit the save button. Now notice that it was 560 matching here, and as soon as I put the 1 hour of legal fee, the projected balance should come to $277.50. And as soon as it comes to $277.50, I'm going to really raise an invoice. Again, I can mark it as paid and raise an invoice and download the invoice. Now this is invoice number 2. Again, the invoice number is not going to match in uLaw basically because we started a different number schema compared to what you used to have before. So, but it does show you the disbursement that was incurred, the application fee, and sums it up here, properly. So notice that, the balance in trust has now dropped to $277.50. The retainer is, it's showing the retainer, it's showing the total amount of disbursements that you've done, and it shows you the billables. Like the most key important is the invoice raise date. Like for example, this second invoice was on 1st of May. It matches with, what you did here. Now, what's the last step? The last step is actually doing those 2 trust transfers that you need to do. So let's do that. So you can say action trust invoice payment transfer. So if you notice here, first time you only transferred one amount, which was the first legal fee, which was for gingerbread, which was 2507, which was $452 here that you transferred that. You transferred it from your trust account to your bank account. The date was it was February, so let's change it to February the 1st. It was done as an electronic fund transfer, and the requisition number was E1234, and you can hit the transfer button. The second invoice, which consisted of the disbursement fee and the second legal fee, was transferred using a check, and let's do that now. So go back to the matter and now click on action button and do a trust invoice payment transfer. It'll now show you that you can only transfer those two, so you choose those two and transfer it from your trust account to your operational bank account, and the check number is 255, and you hit the transfer button. Now that you actually finished the matter, you can go actually to accounts and verify the trust ledger that uLaw will generate and the trust ledger that you already had before in your previous system and compare the two. So let's do that. So you can say document generation, ledger, client, trust, and you can say all transactions for Fred Gingerbread and do a download. And now you'll see that the dates, the events, everything will actually match. So the 1st of November, Fred Gingerbread, $1,200. May the 5th, the court fee that was paid, $75, bringing down the trust. Then that one legal transfer, the first legal transfer, $452, bringing it down to $673. Then a combined legal transfer of the disbursement and the legal fee, bringing it down to $277.50. So as you clearly saw, by just backdating things properly, we were able to bring back the entire transaction of what happened for an active client from your existing system to uLaw. So to recap, what we did was we created a matter after creating a client. We backdated, the retainer by putting a new retainer and then setting the date back. Then this one was paid from trust, so we backdated by saying this was paid from trust. Again, we backdated, put the amount, put all the information, and then we created our first entry for the first line item, $400. Again, when we created the invoice, we backdated it, and then we created the invoice. And similarly, when we did a trust transfer, action trust transfer, we again backdated it to that date properly. And last and final, we put an invoice with both legal fee and disbursement that was paid from general, and then did the exact same process of backdating an invoice. And then we have transferred this entire client to uLaw.